All right, as GM is warming up here for Div C, welcome to the Div C podcast. Stefano, Simo, Peeze, Eagle, and GM.
What's up, Steph?
Good.
Okay, all right.
That's the largest pleasure device I've ever seen.
For those who are wondering,
It's big and black.
I have a bit of a sinus infection here, but that's okay. All right, let's dive into it, guys.
That's not the real reason.
Yeah, no. This has probably been our most compelling division, our fun division that we like talking about because the storylines has gone through and through.
There's one storyline. It's who is the 10th best quarterback.
No, it's
Div B.
My bad. I jumped the gun.
So anyway, we have our
Campana.
we have our
Pull the
matchups
Campana.
here. Let's
How's
dive
not
into
pregnant
it.
yet?
Jagerbomb against Friends of Low Places. If you recall, Friends of Low Places had a 2-score lead against Jagerbomb, and Jagerbomb came back to pilfer balls in the air and return it back from points, and they ended up winning by 6. Gentlemen, I ask you this question. Is this the game that you will circle as being the lower seed upending the higher seed in Jagerbomb? Simon.
I touched upon this a little bit previous week, saying Jagerbomb could beat anybody, but they could also lose to everybody. I think this is probably the best matchup for Friends in Low Places. They could make this a grindy, slow-paced game, and it's going to come down to Simon trying to make one mistake, which, let's be honest, like, he might throw one interception. And if it's only a 30-point game, like 25, 30-point game, there's a chance Friends in Low Places actually come out on top. I wouldn't count Jagerbomb as a clear-cut winner.
I do like Simon taking all sides of the argument. They can win to anybody. They can lose to anybody. So a thing will happen. One of those two results.
Yes,
every
sir.
week.
Okay, go Peeze. Give me. Hot take.
No, I got no hot take.
So you're like me.
I honestly think this is a pretty good matchup for Friends in Low Places. It's a similar kind of team. And to Simon's credit, I will say the thing he was actually saying, because his preface was awful, but the thing he was actually saying that Jagerbomb may make mistakes where we don't expect Friends in Low Places to, and if it's going to be that kind of game, if they're attacking, if Danny Demore can be as consistent as he has been this season since he started throwing, they will be a problem for Jagerbomb. I'm just getting to the end of my sentence.
Sorry, go ahead, Steph.
So this game, Friends in Low Places, they usually get off to a fast start. And towards the end of the game, they seem to have used most of their energy at the beginning. So if they are to not lose track of what's going on and like just have the same amount of pressure, both halves of the game, they're in a good spot. But Jagerbombs, they are a team that is Simon Duchesne. Now he's an interesting quarterback. I mean,
as a person.
Interesting quarterback. I don't know who he is, but yeah.
So
I don't know how he is as a person.
I've never seen
him. I've seen him a couple times. Never had an actual conversation with the guy, but
nice guy.
Ask him about
he's
maps.
a nice guy. He seems to.
Looks
be
like he
nice
likes
guy.
maps.
He likes maps.
Okay.
He looks like a
Cartographer.
zoologist. He's probably a zoologist. He's probably a zoologist.
Wow.
He,
So,
he
yeah,
likes animals and where they're from.
Biologist, probably.
So he
Maps of zoos.
usually is able to continue. He's able to maintain the pace with a team like Friends in Low Places, but once the pace is over, it's tough for him to get back.
Dating profile is maps and zoos.
The worst job.
So yeah,
He makes pop-up books for
my
kids, so you know where zebras come
What do you do
from.
for a living? I draw the maps on it for
Oh, you have him working at the zoo making the maps. It's not bad. That's not bad. I
Go
like
to the
that.
reptile exhibits. All right.
Or else, where do you know how do you know where to go? He's important, man. You don't get lost in the zoo.
We need one of them.
Just follow the arrows. All right. Commission against Le Montagnard.
Oh, man.
If there is one matchup that I look at, I think Montagnard can be very tricky for Commission. In years past, they've given each other fits. Like they have had some close games.
Who's playing quarterback?
That's a good
For
question.
Montagnard.
Who will play quarterback for it? It was Mark. It was Mav on Tuesday.
On the do or die game against Layers Out.
I don't hate Marco Vien as a quarterback, by the way.
But you lose him as a receiver.
Correct. But you also gain him as a quarterback, which is awful.
Well,
He's a good second option at quarterback.
Julien Fizet is the better option due to the
Yes.
weapons that he could have. There's something about that Vien to Vien connection, whether it's Fred Vien to Mav, as we've seen him seasons past, or what I've noticed, on Tuesday at Brossard. Mais after Fredvien, it was there's something there that looks unstoppable, and I don't think the commission do have AJ Gomes who's able to play against Frederic Vien decently well, but Frederic Vien is a special receiver, and there's certain patterns that in man-to-man coverage you won't be able to cover. It's going to be interesting to see what the commission is able to do. If they're going to key so hard on him, they're going to let the other guys play. Like you said, there was something special about the way Montagnard played last week in their do-or-die game against Lights Out. And they put up a lot of points, man.
Steph, your thoughts on this game here? Commissioner, by the way, Eddie Lee will be eligible for playoffs.
Yep.
Somehow he threw out a random excuse. July 4th, I played for T-Max, and while Commissioner was playing, so I was on T-Max's team. So he is eligible to play, which is a big difference for the offense here. Does Eddie Lee make a difference for this commission offense against Le Montagnard?
He doesn't make a difference for their offense. He makes a difference for their defense.
Agreed.
Because their offense is pretty solid. I mean, you have AJ Gomes. You say Dom's going to play? I don't know if he's...
Dom's back, yeah.
Dom's back. He has
Sampson,
Vince Marquis.
Julian McLaren.
Julian McLaren. And their offense doesn't need Eddie Lee. It's the defense that needs Eddie Lee. And then you have Brent Botkin on their offense, but Brent Botkin's just there. He's also part of that offense, just in case people are wondering. But see, the problem is that JF Marquis, and he tries to make big plays too quickly against teams that he underestimates.
First play deep ball, right?
First play deep ball against a team that he feels is beneath them. Now, I don't know if he feels that way about Les Montagnards, but he might go into it like with a nonchalant approach to this Montagnard team.
So
we'll see what happens.
Sorry, Stefano. We could just keep cutting each other off. That sexual chemistry we had before gone. The thing is, JF Marquis, the first season I saw him play was in Division 6, and I said, he reminded me of when I first started playing with Fred Morissette. Just a guy always looking to take the kill shot. Like, even whether or not it's there, and then the thing is like Fred Morissette realized when he moved up the divisions, this gets harder and harder to do. JF Marquis is on such a good team, he hasn't had to realize that yet. However, come playoff time, that gets more and more difficult. Your tendencies are focused on, and teams actually show up and play in the summer in the playoffs because it's the playoffs. So I think he may need to adjust on the fly, which will be difficult.
So I agree with you, Peeze.
Thanks, man.
I think
I made a really good point there.
This is what Jeff Marquis' weakness is. The problem is I think the commission is too deep roster-wise that they're just going to score over and over and over, and the Montagnards don't have enough DBs that are a threat to take those away.
So don't get me wrong, I wasn't saying it was going to happen this game.
But I have one question for you guys. Just a quick answer here. This you can say Brent or Dom in this question answer here. Who is more dangerous in this game here? A rusty Don Benevento or Brent Botkin?
Arrested?
Rusty.
Oh, Rusty. Look, Don Benevento
Don with cuffs.
Is an amazing player. Whether he's got handcuffs or not, I think he's just a dominant player. He's a guy who will find ways to be involved, and he's got a killer smile.
He's going to have to adjust because of the injury, but
it
doesn't put in handcuffs, and the handcuffs, obviously.
Yeah.
But Brent just doesn't compete with the level of play that Dom has. So
Dom underneath is going to be...
But also, I think Brent built the team properly in that, as a captain, you should always be the worst player on your team. Even if you're the best player in the league, you need to find guys who are better than you, because why wouldn't you?
It's true.
Let's say Ken Wyeth.
Get better guys.
Yeah, but Kevin White's also not the best receiver on that team.
Correct.
That's a good point. Backyard Bullies, Bearskins.
Revenge
Revenge
Who gets
game,
it?
yes.
Okay.
Vinny Galano.
I know. I was just
Bearing the lead there.
waiting for you to make the point because our listeners don't necessarily know this.
Vinny Galano used to play for Backyard Bullies. Now he's part of Bearskins, and he hates everyone on Backyard Bullies. He says it all the time. He has a T-shirt that says, "I hate everyone on Backyard Bullies."
That's true. He sent me a message today saying Rich Humes should not get quarterback of the year because I hate him and we're no longer friends.
Yeah.
I was like, Vinny, that's not how it works.
I know.
Who's more dangerous in this game? Rich Humes being a multifaceted quarterback, or Vinny Galano, who could perhaps go off for 3-4 touchdowns?
Vinny Galano on both sides of the ball, but especially on offense. He's a guy who's overlooked often because he's a name that we recognize for a while, and then new names come up and guys are just as talented. But then he also doesn't have the physique. You're like, oh, this guy can take over a game. That dude can take over a game. He's very difficult to cover in space.
And if they don't have Vinny Galano, they have Marco Beltoldi. So Either way, Vinny Galano doesn't need to carry the team. It's either he does because he's always open and his speed usually gets him
20
behind the
touchdowns. So
TV. Yeah. I mean, like honestly, it's probably like 40% of the quarterback's touchdowns in the season.
Probably more than that, actually.
I would get. I
it's
would.
like 50. Yeah.
Like 50, more or less. So
The
yeah,
page is loading slowly, or else I'd
Mark
help you.
Belvedere, yeah.
Mark-
Well, your thoughts here in this game? What's the key for the Bearskins, though, if they're going to beat
I think it's
backyard bullies?
Vinny
50%.
I think it's Vinny Galano defensively. I think he's been playing with Rich Rooms for so long that he knows the system. He knows what they like to do, what works for them. As long as Vinny Galano is listened to, which, let's be honest, nobody listens to Vinny. If Bearskins defense listens to what he says and he knows what's coming because he's played with that offense before, he's going to predict the plays. He's going to take away what Rich Rooms likes to do. And we're going to see a Rich Rooms that struggles to... It's tough when you're playing Week 11 and it's the first time in your season you have to do something different than what you've been doing all season and was successful at. So can he adjust on the fly and be able to score 5 touchdowns with a different offense? I think that's what backyard bullies will need to do to beat Bearskins.
Can Mark Belvedere be put it this way? Rich Hughes be average and still win the game?
Scoring 24 and win, you mean?
Yeah.
Perhaps.
But does
So
Mark
no answer.
does
No,
Mark Belvedere have to be above average? Can he be above average?
I think he'll need to be. I have a more pertinent question. I think is because we see like Vinny Galano 20 touchdowns for Bearskins, backyard bullies now with Jordan Allard. Is this like like you break up with a girl and then you see that she's dating someone who's younger, taller, and just as blonde? For Vinny Galano?
Yes.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Good fake answer.
Perhaps.
Good fake answer. I like that.
Nice.
I like that.
All right.
What first time you accuse the music right?
Mountain Lions against Dirty Dogs. They played each other yesterday on Wednesday in St. Laurent, so there is a lot of connections with these two teams. In fact, the guys in this game here were rivals in high school, from what I was told from A.J. Rashkerman. Any chance? And look, Dirty Dogs have given the upper echelon a lot of problems. Tats they almost beat during the regular season. Can the Dirty Dogs be able to steal a couple of possessions from Mountain Lions?
Yes.
And win this football game?
Yes.
Are you confident? You can put confidence points, all of it on Dogs.
How many total confidence points do I have?
Let's say you have 10.
10. I will put 3.5.
That's it.
Not
I'm
very
splitting a point. Like I'm like going in between.
That's not enough.
I'm like taking the chip back. It's a felony. I shouldn't do that. But the thing is, Dirty Dogs have a lot of high-end experience, upper division experience. They play physical. Jake Applebaum's go-to play, almost blindly, is throwing the 12-yard seam on a line before the receiver even turns around to make the play. The way that you disrupt that is stepping inside and removing that quick release from the receiver before you bounce outside. So you need to force him to check down to the hook. And I think Dirty Dogs are a team that are well built to use that specific defensive scheme against them.
I've seen a lot of Dirty Dogs this
It's
season.
a lot of X and O talk right there.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Dirty Dogs this season. If there's one thing that I would say about that team is they rely too much on their speed and they think they're just far superior to everybody else. So they're playing this weird defense where they have a guy coming from the opposite side of the field to play safety across, thinking I'll make it on time. But sometimes you're not that fast.
If that's what they're gonna do, they won't.
But that's what I'm
win
saying.
this
So
game.
if they try to play it that way, which usually is what they do, problem is Jake Applebaum hits at 12 yards, not 30. If you
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's literally like it's almost like in tackle. It's like, bam, get
Yes.
the ball, 1, 2, 3, out.
Yes. If that's what you're doing and the safety's coming from across the field,
Never stopping.
he's never gonna get there. If you're trying to put it
But
over
I think
top,
I think actually there though to disrupt that, your flat defenders need to be the ones to disrupt the route
Yeah.
because your safeties will never get there in time.
so it's a game that's gonna come down to not Dave Chidiat, not Ryan Ledanowski, but the other guys, and that's what makes this matchup interesting to me. And I believe Jake Applebaum, unless he's facing a very, very quick rusher that disrupts him a little bit, he's going to be able to have a monster game.
Steph, your thoughts on this game?
I'm going to say something that Peeze is going to detest very much. Because it seems to me like the Dirty Dogs have the best defense for the style of offense that Jake Applebaum tries to lead. They have the guys that could get to the edges quickly to prevent that pass from happening. Obviously, if they only depend on their speed, it's not going to work out. But if they find ways to use their speed and play smart and like cover zones, then I'm pretty sure that they'll be in a better position for this game.
Cal Pinar is the rusher, by the way. 9 sacks on the season.
Pinar.
No, I like mine better because it makes me want pie. So
I like pie.
Pinar.
Can Ryan Launowski win with his legs in this game?
No.
He will have to.
Seth?
He's gonna have to depend on this.
Okay. Blue Chips against Keyport Lock.
Yee.
Lots of speed against no speed.
A lot of girth against speed. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right about that.
I'm
Thanks,
sorry.
man.
I'm sorry,
Are
Keyport.
you? I'll ask your confidence points. You have now 6.5 left.
Okay.
Blue Chips. They've had.
I have to put on blue chips.
Well,
All
that's
right,
what blue
I'm taking all my confidence points and I'm putting on blue chips because I know I'm winning all those chips back to put on
But
future games.
Are they one of those teams that can just turn it on and blow out the competition, or are they
Yes,
just gonna
in this
play
game
down
specifically.
competition?
Now it won't be the game will be out of control, but the score will look closer than it is because of the horrific stab wound of an offense that is Keyport Lock. But I think that the defense of Blue Chips is gonna be too quick for Jeff Rosenblatt. But I will ask GM because maybe he has some insight. Do you think Ryan Aridi will rush in this game?
I don't.
Because it's the way to beat Blue
It's the
Chips.
best. Yeah, it's the best possible thing to do against that team, right?
If you don't rush Ryan Aridi, then Ryan Aridi stay home because you're gonna lose this game.
But who
Don't go.
who else rushes if Ryan does?
He doesn't rush on this team.
I know, I understand, but in this particular matchup,
It's Boris Balourd or something.
Boris Bowler, thank you.
He's very frenetic as a player.
Boris is a good rusher though. I saw him play.
Yeah, but-
But he's not
very-
Ryan.
He's not.
He's not
refined
Ryan
now.
Aridi.
Yeah, but is he
No,
able to
arguably
contain-
the second best rusher in the history of
Is he
FPL.
able to get to Jordan Mitchell? That's the question. Because Jordan Mitchell's ridiculous.
He can get to anyone. Can
No, I
get
know,
to
but Jordan
him,
Mitchell
but-
just
I
makes
can't
you
get to him.
tired by running around. I can't get to him either. I'd probably be tired after 5 yards.
Actually, there's like not a person in this room who can get there. Not even the illustrious Mokan, who's a former Russian.
Made a living on
Nope,
rushing.
can't do it.
I did it for a whole half.
Hey, what happened second half?
I had played 3 games back to back to back and
Excuses,
have more
excuses.
That's what I was
Yo,
gonna
I
say.
hear
Okay.
excuses in my headset,
But-
so
But
I need these checked for excuses, Eagle, when you get a chance.
in the case of Jordan, in the case of Jordan Mitchell, can
Yes. Sorry.
because he plays sometimes both ways. Will he tire out?
No.
In this football game against
Oh,
a very
no.
smart
We
defense.
have a write-in as well.
Yes.
It's from Matt Kierwak.
Hey,
So
Matt.
He said, "You don't have to talk about it, but make Simon say moist. We didn't finish last."
Oh yeah, they won. On
yeah,
Wednesday.
that's
We're
I
waiting.
predicted that win, by the way.
We're
You
waiting.
did? When to who?
I said Moise is
Himself
going to win that
in
game.
his
Nobody
bed.
believed me, though.
To you at home alone?
No, I told Terry
No.
Time. He's like, no, we're going to lose by 40. That didn't
I
happen.
was
Say
making
it.
fun. Moist.
Thank you.
I was making fun of Matt Keurak all season, and then they won one game. Turbo occasion against 5 guys.
All right, Tats against
You
Vikings.
didn't tell me there were 5, by the way. When you told
Well,
me
if
the
you
game.
because I looked at the roster tab, there was only 5 names, so I messaged Keurak. You won by 1 against 5 guys. He said, no, there were 6. There was
There
no
were
guys on
6.
the roster sheet.
Yeah, one of the guys for
Who was scorekeeping?
occasion. I was.
Why are there only 5 names on the
There was
roster
6 guy who didn't have a number. Tats
sheet?
against
You
Vikings.
should get the game played though.
This should be on the thing. It was on the
Alright.
thing. All right, Tats against Vikings. This is a tricky matchup because Vikings, as you and I spoke about,
Yes.
Simon, on Tuesday, they pose matchup problems for the Tats, and they played them close in years past.
They've
I like
played
it.
them well. Vikings have been playing much better in the last 5 weeks, in the first 5 weeks of the season. Is it because somebody's not playing anymore for them? I don't know. But listen, Vikings have come together well. Their offense finally does what Nick Gendron-Vallée as a quarterback does well. And their defense is just, it's not threatening when you're playing as a quarterback, but it's efficient. They'll get a stop every now and then, and it's going to come down to can Nicolas Gendron-Vallée not throw an interception. The Offense is a strong team. Now, let's reveal some sources and play spoilers and say there might be missing guys on the Offense. If that's the case, Viking has an even better chance at this. It might not be the craziest bet at all.
I don't hate that bet actually. I maybe it's the whole thing that we want them to win because A, it helps us, and B, it's like everyone always wants the Cinderella story, right?
Everybody wants 8 to beat 1,
Yeah.
always.
But then like we want them to lose next round because somebody wants 8 in the finals. Come on, there's a reason you're 8. Like give us a nice heartwarming story for a second, but then get out, go home. But yeah, before they go home, beat Tats. Let's do it.
Steph, your thoughts on this game here? Do the Vikings have enough power in their ship to dethrone the Tats?
The Vikings, they have to depend on their offense, and I believe that the Tats defense is just going to be too strong for them to make the most and put up 30, 40 points. Because I don't know who's going to be there, who's not going to be there, but if they are their usual 8 guys, they have players that are that are DBs by trade and they just know how to cover. And then you always have Alexi Gaumont in the safety spot that just he's just always in the end zone when there's a jump ball. He's just always there, and he usually comes down with it. So if they depend on the jump ball and they don't spread the ball, the Vikings, or differ in plays and just stick to one system, they're gonna have to find ways to come together in different setups to win.
Top season strangers. This is, I think, a complete mismatch here. They played each other earlier year in top season, ran them off the turf.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, the douchebag of the year goes to Gino
The
DeFazio.
year. Nice.
Gino DeFazio, congratulations. You're the douchebag of the year. You can come claim this award. Ask Robert Cabana. You know his email. Email him for this trophy. You can finally win yourself a trophy. A well-earned trophy, pal. Douchebag of the year. Probably for the
But so
century
what
as
happened,
well.
though? What was the story?
He's a douchebag.
All right. Fair.
Douchebag of the year, decade, and century. You can win this trophy. Email Rob. He'll send you this
Them be
trophy.
fighting words.
And you can get this.
those
All right,
are
so
friends.
okay, so we look at this game here, complete mismatch. Tell me why Strangers have a fighter's chance to perhaps make this competitive and maybe even win this game here, Simo.
Simply because Tops isn't as good as they are. There's games like last week where they didn't show up to play. They showed up thinking, "God, this is going to be an easy matchup. We're going to score 50 again every week." And then on the first drive, they get surprised. Something happens. They turn the ball over or turnover on downs. And then next thing you know, Strangers are going to put up points. They've got some good players. I think they'll be able to have certain matchups going their way. I think across the board, I could see Strangers putting up 25 to 30 points. Now, this should be, like you said, easy for Top Season to put up 45, 50. Simply due to the fact that nobody could cover Justine Edwards. But what if they have an off game and Thompson takes this one lightly, shows up, thinks, Strangers, we've destroyed him in the regular season, and then they're down 15-0.
But can Fernando Massa rush in this game in a meaningful way?
In a meaningful way, at certain times. I don't think he's going to be an X factor where he's going to kill Jared Taylor's running game. Good thing I added running game at the end of that one. But
Because otherwise,
Scrambling
we're not
game.
supporting murdering anything.
Scrambling game.
Just to be clear,
Yeah.
Jared
But-
Taylor's a nice guy.
He
Let's
is,
not
yes,
kill
he
him.
is.
But yeah, I think you won't be able to necessarily take that away from him entirely, but you won't finish with no sacks either. I think he's going to be able to come up with one or two big plays.
But
Like
for me,
a
it's
12,
not
15-yard
just
sack.
the running. It's that, man, when he decides to break the rusher and then look downfield, and you can't cover all of his receivers the entire game.
Yeah, that's the thing. So if you're able to one or two times early in the game not let him break the rusher and make a sack out of that, that's when he will stop to try to run, and that's when Top Season's offense is at their weakest.
Okay, so Steph, we look at the top season's offense. What about Strangers' offense? They have a roster of 85 billion guys.
And none of them
How
eligible.
many of
None
them
of them eligible?
Not so many.
Well, they got like
Um,
9 guys eligible, no?
They do.
From
They
like
have
last
some
season.
guys,
Yeah.
but
The record.
the guys that they have, Top Season has the people to cover them. Like you got Caruthers,
Carruthers.
Carruthers, whatever. Nobody
Hit him
ever
with a boo. Hit him
corrects
with a boo.
as much
Caruthers.
as you people do. I don't feel like it offends anybody, but okay, Caruthers, better.
Or maybe him. You don't know.
Does
Whatever
it,
you say,
does it.
Stefano Berardi.
You know, people call me Stefano, and I just let it be because
that is
Stefano-
your name.
No, it's not.
Stefanos.
For the English people.
Stefano.
Yes. Anyways, the Top Season just have too many weapons.
Stefanos?
See, they have the Strangers. They have injured players also. All right, like Sija. I'm not sure if he's gonna show up. I don't know if he's eligible.
He hasn't been there like since like
He's
hurt, though.
2016.
He's
Yeah.
hurt.
I know, but like he's like 50%. You know, he could still make plays. He just won't play the whole game. But they have Junior Spera, who's just I don't know. He's got ballerina feet, and if you look
He
at
does.
him, you would be like, "There's no chance that this guy could get away from
I think
tacklers."
Top Season as the only player in this division able to cover Junior Sparrow.
They do, that's what I was-
Justin Edwards. I think he's the only guy that could actually match up man-to-man on him the whole game and have Junior Sparrow come down with like 8 yards.
That's exactly what I'm saying. The players that are the weapons for Gino, they have counterparts that it's going to be easy for them to cover. So it doesn't look good for Strangers at all.
All right, Junkyard Dogs. I'm gonna let you finish. They can't
I'll let you finish. 78 points. You heard it here first. Simon,
All
you
right,
better
so
not
Steph,
suck.
78 points, goddamn.
But the Junkyard Dogs have new uniforms, nice, gorgeous black, midnight purple uniforms. Steph, your thoughts on this game here? I'm gonna let you finish. Can they pull off the upset and take out Junkyard Dogs, who many people think can piece this together for a deep playoff run?
The Junkyard Dogs, they do have the pieces to do that, but it comes down to Rossi. I'm going to go with Rossi because I'm not sure
Which
if
one?
it's Jordan or Jason. The
Jason.
quarterback. Jason. All right, because
Throwing, you
Jordan throws also.
Yeah.
But
It'll be
he
Jason.
throws in the lower one. So it comes down to Jason Rossi and how he composes himself, because
Like
he
Mozart.
has quite a character. He really and he takes it out on his teammates sometimes, and that's just horrible. Like that's not how it's supposed to be, you know. So if he could keep a cool head, sure, maybe one thing not going to go his way, but if he bounces back from that, he should be fine. So they need to focus and take advantage of their athletes that they have on that team.
I'll be objective, and because I won't be like Peeze and say we'll win by 78.
78.
I think
Simon will suck.
Junkyard Dogs, when my team, because I wasn't present, played them, it was a close game. I think Junkyard Dogs have become much better as the season progressed. There's a lot of connection between Jason Rossi and his new receivers. The team is honestly as strong as it's going to get for them. They had a great season, finishing 9-1, and honestly, they're one of the tougher matchups across the board. I think we've talked about them earlier in the season, saying they're a very strong playoff team. But like Stefano said, the only knock we could have on them is if Jason Rossi gets under his own skin. If he gets frustrated with certain calls or certain plays, and then he's going to try to run to make up for the plays. And that's when usually he makes mistakes. I haven't seen it this season. We'll see. Hopefully he's going to make it, because that means we'll have a better chance of winning.
All right, Jim, I ask you this question, only you. Who has a bigger game? Jamie Ojea, pardon me, or Royce Samaridjan?
Jamie Ojea.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Is that time for the picks?
Picks of the week. Jagerbomb, Philp.
Bomb.
Yeah, goodbye.
Philp.
Commission, Montagnards.
This is a tricky one.
Nah, commission.
The
Commission,
commission.
close
I
one.
Commission, not tricky.
No.
Backyard Bullies, Bearskins.
Bearskins.
Bullies.
Bearskins.
Mountain Lions, Dirty Dogs.
Lions.
Mountain Lion.
Mountain
I
Lions.
go the Lions, yeah.
Blue Chips, Keyport Lock.
Blue chips.
Blue
Chips.
chips.
Blue chips.
Alpha T's, Vikings.
I'm going to go Vikings.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna go with Alpha T's.
Bandwagon.
I got you. Vikings, bandwagon.
Nah, give me tats.
Top Season, Strangers.
Season.
Top season.
Yeah.
Top season.
And Junkyard Dogs, I'm going to let you finish.
78.
Junkyard.
Total score.
I'm going to let you finish.
I don't know. We have to win by 78, so you do the math.
Win by 8, boy.
Magic
Don't
words,
suck.
please.
I forgot again. I'm having a rough day. Mo, say something.
Good night. All-Star game.
Yeah, we need
Words.
to finish that.
It wasn't as great as good night.
So who's your snub this year that's not going to make it that deserves it because Robbie Dejean? Who's your Robbie Dejean of the
Oh
year?
yeah, I was looking at that today. I was talking to Rob Campana about it. I was like, so somebody has to be. He's like, somebody's gonna get mad at me this year. Who is it gonna be? Can I try to predict it? And I looked it up and I couldn't find him.
But it's going to happen.
Oh, for sure. It
Sam,
happens
what's your
every
prediction?
season.
Who's the...
Let me look through them because I haven't.
No, just say a name. It's not about research. Alex Holloway.
I get trashed every season for a pick. We all know this.
Just it was supposed to end on Alex Holloway.
Trashed.